Good evening and welcome to Storytime with Uncle Patrick. This is Gandalf. He's going to be helping us. Gluteus Mutinus is taking a nap behind me. I had a rough day today and was thinking about what I would like, and what I would have liked is for someone to sit down and read me a story. I don't have that, so I'm going to read you a story. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to pause now and go ahead and grab yourself some refreshments or a snack or a stuffed animal or something like that. Today we're going to be reading creation myths from Norse mythology, because it's the stories that I had access to. If I mispronounce Norse names, I apologize. I'm going to do my best. The north was frozen. Snow and ice, nothing more. It was called Nilfhelm. It was the embodiment of bleakness. The south was aflame, ready to consume whatever might come. It was called Muspel. It was the embodiment of insanity. Between them lay a vast emptiness. It was called Ginnungagap. It waited. In the midst of the northern realm, water bubbled up in the spring known as Virgelmir. From it ran two rivers, straight down into the void, filling the northern part of Ginnungagap. The cold river slowed and thickened like icy syrup, but a venomous kind of syrup. One that matched the desolate cries of the haunted winds. The southern part of Ginnungagap was hot, though. Muspel kept it molten like lava. So when the guts from the northern part met the heaving heat from the southern part, the middle of Ginnungagap grew almost balmy. The icy rivers thawed just enough to drip over that wide middle part. That was enough. The frost giant Ymir stepped out of those drops. From the sweat of his left armpit grew a frost giant son and daughter. Ymir rubbed his feet together, and another frost giant was born. Ymir's every move, every thought resulted in more frost giants, and all of them were spitting mean. What else could they be, given the bitter source of the very liquid in their veins? The ice of Ginnungagap kept melting as the air grew milder. It formed a cow, a huge, good-natured beast from whose udders spurted 4 milk rivers. Her name was Aldhumla. She stood in the middle of the glistening blocks of salty ice, and like any good cow, she immediately started licking. Hair appeared out of the ice. She licked all the next day until a whole head appeared. By the evening of the 3rd day, an entire being stood there. He was Buri, the first god. Buri soon had a son named Bor, and Bor married the daughter of a frost giant and fathered 3 sons, the grandchildren of Buri: Odin, Vili, and Vi. Now the trouble began. The sons of Bor and the gang of frost giants hated each other. Inevitably, perhaps, for the world was still such an inhospitable place, ice on one side, fire on the other, that hate found a natural home there. Bor's sons killed Ymir. The blood of that ancient frost giant surged over Ginnungagap and drowned all the other frost giants, all but 2. Bergelmir and his wife. They got in their boat and let the gory current carry them where it would. But now the sons of Bor found themselves with this enormous corpse, and they recognized the possibilities. Life could come from death. That could be the circle of things, so they used every part of the slain Ymir to create many worlds. His blood made seas and lakes, his flesh made earth, his bones formed mountains, his teeth became rocks and pebbles. Ymir's hollowed-out skull made the sky, and the 3 sons of Bor took the maggots crawling in Ymir's rotted carcass and created small creatures called dwarves. They set a dwarf under each of the 4 corners of the skull sky to hold it, arching over the earth. One dwarf was called Nordi. North, 1 Austri, east, 1 Sudri, south, 1 Vestri, west, and all the other dwarfs ran off to live in the rocky caves. They became skilled craftsmen. It was they who wrought the decorative treasures of the gods. But there was still more of Ymir's body to exploit. The sons of Bor threw his brains up into the sky to form clouds. They stole embers from Muspel and created the sun and the moon, and from the sparks they made all the many stars. With Ymir's eyebrows, they made a wall to keep out the giants. The land outside the wall was called Jotunheim, and the only 2 giants left alive settled there. The land inside that wall was called Midgard, so now the land of Midgard was protected from giants, from ice, from fire, and it had air above. It grew green with leeks and fragrant clover trees shut up. Spruce and elm and ash, the gods who had grown in number, wandered over this land. From 2 pieces of driftwood on the seashore, 3 gods created a man and a woman, the first humans. Odin put his mouth to theirs and gave them ond, breath, so they could live and love. Honir gave them od, mind, so they could understand and laugh. Lodor gave them la, sense, so they could appreciate beauty. And that lone man, Ask, and that lone woman, Embla, set about having children to populate the land of Midgard. Meanwhile, the giants were having children too. One giant woman had raven black hair and skin the hue of tree bark. To touch her was to shiver. Her name was Night. She had a son with hair that looked like the tips of flames in Muspel and skin the color of Adhumla's milk. To touch him was to smile. His name was Day. Their contrast fascinated Odin. He couldn't resist. He sent Night and her son Day in 2 chariots that race across the sky, one after another. Night's chariot horse is Hrumfaxi, with frost clumped in his mane. Day's chariot horse Skinfaxi, with sparkles flying from his mane. A human living in Midgard had children that were stunningly beautiful. As beautiful as anything the gods had created. He called his daughter Sun and his son Moon. Such audacity was a grave mistake. In fury, the sons of Bor snatched them and made Sun guide the chariot of Day and Moon guide the chariot of Night. The chariots are always in a hurry because each is chased by a savage wolf, sons of a giantess witch who lives in the ironwood forest to the east of Midgard. The wolf, Hati Hrovidson, goes after the moon. He will run Moon down in the end in the cosmic battle of Ragnarok. The wolf's skull snaps and growls behind Sun. In the end, he will catch her too. That is how it all began, and that is how it will all end. Thank you for joining me for Storytime. If you enjoyed that, I will happily do another one. If you didn't, well, you probably didn't finish the video anyway. I hope you have a really lovely night and take care of yourself.